The web is tightening. Khumalo drops evidence that could expose Sibiya as part of the cartel. Or at least, that's what he alleges. It was a bombshell day. Stick around to find out all that was revealed, with crazy CCTV footage and links all around. Let's get into it. Spread the fire. Welcome back to the Sizwe Mpofu-Walsh experience. Yeah, I'm back in a suit and tie, fam, because I had another talk today. By the way, invite me to come and speak at your institution or company. Fam, today can only be described in Xhosa aunt terms. You. It's getting deep, people. It's getting very deep. And I want to really spend some time on crime intelligence boss Dumisani Khumalo's testimony at the Madlanga Commission today, because I believe today was a massive day in the case that Mkhwanazi and Khumalo have put forward. I'll also speak about what happened in Parliament and look a bit at the Brown Mogotsi so-called assassination attempt. Let's begin, though, with Dumisani Khumalo's testimony before the Madlanga Commission. And I need to give you some context to understand why today was so important. You may remember that Khumalo, who's the head of crime intelligence, these are the people who look at all that's happening and try to draw links and prevent crime before it happens, get intelligence about all that's happening, get tip-offs, put different cars and identity numbers and computer information and digital information together to form a puzzle, to form pieces of a puzzle which tells us what's happening with crime, especially organized crime. And Khumalo is the head of that. Now, he was testifying before the Madlanga Commission, and he was dropping these crazy WhatsApp messages which appeared to show how Kat Matlala was speaking to all kinds of important people. And no sooner had he began his testimony than the following day he was declared too ill to testify. And we still don't know the full story of why he couldn't carry on, but everyone got really worried that his testimony was being sabotaged and there could have been foul play. In any case, Khumalo left South Africa on grey ticks for a really long time. It feels like it must have been more than a month at this point. But he finally came back to the Madlanga Commission today to carry on with his testimony. Now, of course, because General Mkhwanazi's press conference was a very long time ago, just to refresh your memory, he alleges that a criminal cartel, this is a criminal syndicate, complete with drug money, contract killings, cash and transit heists, and dodgy tender deals. This criminal syndicate has infiltrated government, and it has influence not only over high-ranking police officials. In particular, Mkhwanazi identified Shadrach Sibiya, the Deputy National Commissioner, but also in the government. And this cartel, according to Mkhwanazi, had reach all the way into the police ministry, and goodness knows what other offices. So Khumalo's largely in Mkhwanazi's camp, let's put it that way. And he's now Mkhwanazi at the commission said, I can't give you all the evidence, but when Khumalo comes, he'll be able to outline more of the direct links that have been drawn because he was leading a lot of these operations. So that's the context to help you understand why today was important. Now, Khumalo took the stand. And by far the most important thing he did was he has now adduced evidence which links, even in a preliminary way, via CCTV footage, Shadrach Sibiya, the Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, to one of the members of this cartel, a Mr. KT Molefe, allegedly part of this cartel, who, of course, has been before court and has been granted bail twice now by the High Court in Gauteng. After not being given bail by the lower magistrates court, he successfully appealed twice. KT Molefe, who's alleged to have been involved in the Armand Swart murder Transnet tender case, where firearms were also linked to the DJ Somebody case, etc. So previously, Khumalo has told us that there's this big five cartel that are running the streets and government at certain levels. It includes KT Molefe and Kat Matlala. So these are quite big bosses within the structure. So Khumalo is linking someone high in the police to someone high in crime via CCTV footage. And it's quite real, fam, because you'll remember when there was an arrest operation on KT Molefe's house, a search and seizure operation, and when he was arrested, members of the political killings task team who were part of that arrest, as well as other members of organized crime divisions of the police, managed to secure CCTV footage from KT Molefe's Sandhurst mansion, right? And now we get to watch what, at least some, there's still going to be more, goodness knows what's coming tomorrow, but some footage of who went in and out of that house of KT Molefe. And someone linked to Shadrach Sibiya was in that house, fam. There's no doubt about that, unless the CTV footage is AI generated, and it doesn't look like it. So, who was this person who, driving in a white BMW, was spotted in KT Molefe's house? This person is a certain Sergeant F.E. Nkosi, who we heard from one of the witnesses whose identity was concealed last week, was also someone who was sending money from Kat Matlala to Sibiya. So it appears that Sibiya had this Nkosi person as an intermediary linking to Kat Matlala, linking to Katiso Molefe, if the evidence here is to be believed. At least that's the allegation that Khumalo is making, backed up by this evidence. So the person you're about to see in the CCTV footage, which I'm going to show you, is Sergeant F.E. Nkosi, a subordinate of Sibiya, who's already been linked in the commission before, and is found driving into Katiso Molefe's house and coming away with a white paper bag. Have a look. See it for yourself, fam. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at this.
Okay, can we go back to the beginning and pause it there? Okay, so now that we've seen it, we're just going to go back to the beginning, pause it, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. This part of the video, maybe if we can check the time, Mr. Sergeant Nkosi did not spend much time there. It was less than 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, the timestamp says 16:40, and the previous video was 16:31, so it's about 9 minutes.
Yeah. And then we noticed that when he was arriving, he did not have any bag with. So now this second video is showing, okay, maybe standing there, it's him and Mr. Katiso Molefe, who is then accompanying his visitor back to his car. And then we notice that the sergeant is now carrying a white paper bag. Unfortunately for us, it's not transparent, so as we can see what type of chocolate is in there. But he is having a bag that does not look like it's heavy, but it has got some contents. Then we'll use lots of analytical minds to check what is it that you can carry in such a carrier bag.
Mzansi for sure. Firstly, before we say anything, can we deal with what chocolate is in the bag? Ah, man. General Khumalo is giving Zulu uncle vibes. What's going on here, man? And then, I mean, hey, who knows what's in the bag? Fam? Maybe he was helping KT Molefe with his recycling. We don't know. We don't know. Of course there was no money in the bag. Never leave an alleged crime boss's house empty-handed and then later with a white paper bag packed with money, I'm sure. I'm sure. This is a serving sergeant. What he's doing there in the first place, goodness only knows, but leaving with the bag. Whew. Yeah, no. It's clear that the police are seriously infiltrated already. Like, we've already got so much evidence that it's going to take a mountain of evidence to counteract this amount of WhatsApp message evidence. And this is CCTV footage, fam. So this person who's holding the white paper bag, we've already heard, was a conduit for money to Sibiya through Matlala. But now we see him at Molefe's house walking away with this bag. So, I mean, what's going on here? Why is someone linked to Shadrach Sibiya? And by the way, I'm not using the word linked loosely. Stay tuned. We'll show you the link. Why is someone linked to Shadrach Sibiya coming out of KT Molefe's house with this white paper bag? Now, you notice he was driving a white BMW. By the way, a lot of these crimes have a white BMW located at the crime scene. It's actually scary. I'm not suggesting that I know that it's the same car, but I will remember Jeff Wicks's book about Babita Deokaran, and the car that pulled up next to her before she was fatally murdered was a white BMW. So I don't know what's going on with white BMWs and crime in South Africa. But now we need to ask ourselves, okay, how is this vehicle linked to Sibiya? Well, take a look at this next clip that Khumalo drops, because this same BMW is found inside Sibiya's house, fam.
Okay, General. So, shall we begin from there, General? Can you describe what this slide is telling us?
Thank you, Commissioners. In an attempt to consolidate all the information that we have collected and confirmed to date, starting with the vehicle itself, as we can see it in the picture, as well as the registration numbers, and then on top, I think if we scroll down, if we scroll up, we'll see the Lieutenant General who is linked with the driving of the same car on the 9th of October. And maybe also to mention that we have additional information that is showing, that is helping us with the daily movement of the car. That will direct us to the identification of drivers or driver as we finish off the investigation. But the purpose of this part is mainly to confirm the car and the driver, as well as the owner. If we scroll,
can you go down?
You scroll up, and then the car is registered or owned by a gentleman named Scanik Stewart James. If we scroll, I'm not sure whether it will be back up. A quick, let's scroll again, and then on the left.
To the left.
To the left or to the right?
This.
To the...
This.
Yeah. So a quick profile of the owner of the car. As I've mentioned, Mr. James is having a total of 34 cases. He was found guilty on 18 of them, and 11 were withdrawn, and 5 he was found not guilty. That is the profile as per our systems of the owner of the car. Now,
the owner of the Toyota Baki.
Yes.
And if we, okay, so the 18, total of 34 cases against him, and in which he was found guilty in 18. Can we just scroll down to see the details of those cases? And if you can start, perhaps, yes, right at the end.
So let me connect that with what I was saying. There's a white BM, and you'll remember there was that search and seizure operation at Shadrach Sibiya's house recently. In any case, Khumalo has got footage from Sibiya's house which shows the white BM in the house, but the white BM often travels with the white Toyota Baki. And Khumalo was able to put together the number plates which were tracked in different routes as having been either traveling together or very close together, one after the other. So we know from, and they rolled the clips of the white BM at the house, etc., and also the white Toyota Baki. So we know now that a white BMW that has been seen in or around the Sibiya premises was the same car with the same registration that was driven by Sergeant Nkosi when he was picking up the white paper bag, the recycling bag. So that is deeply concerning because this takes this from the realm of circumstantial evidence, possibly linking Sibiya into Sibiya's now apparently deeply implicated by this evidence. Now, of course, there's a long way to go. There's more evidence to be adduced. Sibiya will give his side of the story. But this is not the kind of thing that you can just flatly ignore. To make matters worse, what else was shown in that clip is that the owner of the white Baki that often drives with the white BM is a person who has been before court, they said something like 34 times, 34, 36, found guilty on 18, and all of them are carjacking. Or many of them, or car theft. So why is Sibiya linked to this car that's being driven near another car which is owned by someone who has 34 or 36 car crime related offenses? This person, Mr. Scanik James, who was shown there. So what's going on, fam? And by the way, that same person who was showed as the owner of this vehicle, according to Khumalo, was the person who was sitting behind Sibiya at the Ad Hoc Committee in Parliament as his protector while he was delivering evidence. The commissioners did ask, is it definite that it's the same person? They seem to have similar features, but in one picture the person has a beard, and another picture they're clean shaven. But Khumalo said that they had done the necessary verification work, which would mean that this person has not only been spotted in the close personal vicinity of Sibiya, but the cars have traveled together. So what was Molefe giving Nkosi that money for? It can't be anything good, can it? So it's worrying, fam. It's worrying, but this is extremely strong evidence to support Khumalo's version, to support Mkhwanazi's version, that there is a criminal syndicate that has captured key aspects of law enforcement. One other crazy thing, just on the Khumalo testimony, one of the hitmen in the Transnet tender murder case was also a serving police officer. I thought he had left the police, but Khumalo said no, he was actually a police officer. So there are people, and he said increasingly organized crime is using people inside the police. So there are police who are killing civilians on behalf of organized crime. What is going on, fam, in this country of ours? Cry the beloved country. So quick rundown on some of the other things that happened today. Of course, Deputy Minister Polly Boshielo was before the Ad Hoc Committee, lending further weight to the idea that deputy ministers don't do much. Why? Because firstly, she said she did not really know what the PKTT was all about until the 5th of March this year. So she'd been in office for nearly a year by that time. She also thought, like Castle Matale, the letter disbanding the PKTT was fake, and she was shocked. So she spent her time being shocked, which is a government trait at this point. Sibiya messaged her, this was interesting, saying, there's some spy equipment that's been procured, look after your digital communications. And she sent that to the National Commission of Police, and he said, don't worry, it's basically not something you need to be concerned about. But that seemed to suggest that Sibiya was trying to alert her to some kind of spying operation that was going on. So that's largely what we learned. She doesn't think it was the right way to go about disbanding the political killings task team, but she does think Mkhunu had the power to do it. I just don't know why we have this massive cabinet of people who don't seem to really even have much of the power, especially at deputy ministerial level, to affect much change. So there was that. Of course, finally, there was also the Brown Mogotsi saga. I want you to take a look at this clip because we heard late last night that there had been an alleged assassination attempt on Brown Mogotsi. But I must say at this stage, the evidence is far from conclusive. And I have more questions than answers at this point.
From Mogotsi. Very good afternoon. It's been a long day. Yes, indeed, Brown Mogotsi has not presented himself at this particular police station, but our investigations continue. You can see behind me, we've roped in our top ballistics experts, Colonel Mangena, Chris Mangena. He's worked on high-profile cases. He's helped to solve, Senzo Meyiwa case, Babita Diokoran case. He's also solved the Oscar Pistorius case, so we've just roped him in. He's still busy, as you can see in the background, but as of now, Brown Mogotsi has not disposed a statement to our investigating officers. So we are still urging him to present himself so that we can continue with investigations, because his statement is key. It will provide us with more clarity as to what transpired last night.
So we hear that a vehicle in possession apparently of Brown Mogotsi has been shot at, and there are clear bullet holes in the car and the windscreen, but no drops of blood, no evidence of Brown Mogotsi being harmed at all. He seems to have come away completely unscathed at the moment. So that raises at least attention. Firstly, there's evidence that the car was shot at, but secondly, it's strange that Brown Mogotsi escaped that number of bullets completely unscathed. A witness now suggests Brown Mogotsi was dropped off near the car in and around the incident, so he wasn't necessarily there. Brown Mogotsi, of course, is, as Atlenda Mate, the spokesperson of SAPS, is saying, not presenting himself. This is the second time there was a search and seizure operation at his Northwest business premises, and nope, he still hasn't shown up to the police after that. He's not showing up now, so one would think if there was an assassination attempt, you'd be sprinting to the police to register the case. On the other hand, of course, if there was some kind of attempt, no one wants any kind of violence to happen in South Africa. But at this point, I think the most we can say is it seems inconclusive. What do you think, fam? There's so much happening in South Africa. So much smoke, so many mirrors that you don't know what to believe these days anymore. But yeah, it's a movie, as always. Fam, that's it for today's episode. We looked at General Khumalo's testimony, which will continue tomorrow. We looked at what happened in Parliament. And we also looked at the Brown Mogotsi assassination attempt. I really want to hear what Brown Mogotsi has to say. I'm looking forward to his testimony at these fora, so I hope he goes there soon. But General Khumalo brought us backstage, Days of Our Lives, Bold and the Beautiful, and Isidingo in one, and Sievendelaan even. Nog Sievendelaan. The movie is getting to a new stage of climax. And we're here to help you every step of the way. Like, share, subscribe. Help us reach our next milestone of 400,000 subscribers, fam. And if you're listening on podcast platforms, give us a rating over there. We'll be back with more analysis, more interesting interviews for you. So keep it locked on SMWX, and I'll see you on the next one. Aye.
Na